if there's not enough support. A mixed day on Wall Street as the Dow was up by 159 points, the Nasdaq dropping 260, with the S&P 500 lower by 28. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Let's face it, the world is uncertain these days, but there's something reassuring about holding on to what lasts, like the 2025 1-ounce Gold Eagle from the U.S. Mint, a symbol of American strength and an asset that stands the test of time. You can trust gold and you can trust Global Coin. Call 888-800-1045 to secure this magnificent gold coin, graded in pristine MS-70 condition for the dealer cost of $2,999. Free shipping, no sales tax. This is your chance to own a piece of history while building a foundation of enduring value. And it gets even better. Global Coin is giving the first 100 callers a free MS-70 2025 Silver Eagle to complement your 1-ounce Gold Eagle. Two iconic coins, a symbol of prosperity and a testament to the enduring value of gold and silver. Global Coin backs every purchase with a 30-day return policy, ensuring your peace of mind. Visit globalcoindeal.com or call 888-800-1045. No gimmicks, incredible coins at incredible prices. Again, that's 888-800-1045.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Up and down day on Wall Street with worries about inflation weighing on the minds of some people. S&P 500 and NASDAQ were both down, but a slight majority of stocks nevertheless are on the rise, including Home Depot after its latest profit report. That helped the Dow Jones Industrial Average to hold up better. At the same time, Treasury yields and Bitcoin's price both fell sharply. U.S. consumer confidence dropping in February, the biggest monthly decline in about 4 years. Conference Board reported its consumer confidence index sank this month to 98.3, down from 105.3 in January. Wall Street numbers, the Dow gained 156 points today. S&P 500 was off 26. The NASDAQ fell 272. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Jason Walker.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature tipping to 43. Tomorrow, another great day, mostly sunshine-filled skies. The high temp is 75. Thursday, our one rain day possibility this week. 40% chance we get showers, while on Friday and the weekend, looking very nice. Highs in the mid-60s to low 70s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point.
Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is Sports Talk, Sports Talk Media Network, on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon in South Carolina. Great to have you along for the ride. If you're riding home or riding your bike or just out for a walk, maybe you're getting in a little swim, maybe you're getting in 9 quick holes, maybe 18, maybe you're fighting a cold. Not me, not this time. I'm not it when it comes to the illness category. How you feeling, Bergie?
That would be me. I was chuckling, though. Who is out swimming in February?
Well, it was 70.
I want to meet that person.
It was 72 degrees when I came in, so, you can find some people in their own pool, in their own heated pool, in their own backyard,
be a heated pool,
turning some laps. I would be if I had a pool. You feeling better?
About the same.
Yeah. What you got? You think you got flu 1 or flu 2?
I think I just have a horrible head cold, which, if that's the case, is not good news for me because normally when I get a cold, the backside of it is a horrific cough for several days. And, of course, in our business, that is a nightmare to deal with. So I'm hoping it goes away. Very congested, as you might be able to tell. But, hey, Coastal basketball is going to play tomorrow night whether I'm ready or not. So better be ready.
You'll bring it. You'll bring your A game. I suggest NyQuil and Goodies powders and Mucinex. That's my formula.
Yes.
That's my cold cocktail.
I can't deal with the Goodies. Never been able to swallow an aspirin without water.
Mm-hmm.
The NyQuil is a good idea, but if I took that now, I might not make it till the end of the show. So I'll hold off and do that before I go to bed.
Now, disclaimer here: I'm not responsible for any reactions that anybody might have to my cold cocktail. So if you follow that, you're on your own. Okay, I'm just suggesting that what works for me might work for you. I mean, that's what you do.
No malpractice suit against Dr. Corn is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
I mean, when you're ill, people are always giving you all kinds of remedies. So that's what I'm doing, and that seems to work for me. Okay, we got a lot going on. We got baseball. We got basketball. We got a lot of NIL talk to cover tonight. Your phone calls, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. We got recruiting. We got David Hood of TigerNet at 7:05. Clemson spring football commences on Friday. Friday's going to be a heck of a day. Going to go up there, listen to Dabo Sweeney about 3 o'clock or so, talk about spring practice, probably get to watch the Tigers run out on the field a little bit and do some light things the first day of spring practice, then hang over and be there that night for Clemson and South Carolina baseball. So Friday's going to be a huge, huge day for the Corn. Looking forward to it.
David Hood, I haven't seen anything, but you've seen now the proliferation around the country of college coaches that are canceling their spring games.
Yeah.
Well, we get to a point that the Gamecocks and or the Tigers follow suit and just do not have a spring game, a public display. So as has been the excuse, so that other coaches that are watching on television can't get an early look at some of the guys that are in your camp and try and coax them away with NIL money in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the regular season game getting canceled.
Yeah, me too.
With the with more expansion and all this stuff being talked about between the SEC and the Big Ten and having a weekend of play-in games and then a championship. I mean, there's only so many, unless you start playing the college football season like August 15th, there's only so many weeks you can squeeze into September, October, November, and then you get into the playoff season in December. So, to be honest with you, though, I am worried. I'm going to add, Shane Beamer's going to be with us tomorrow night at 7:05. Ask him about his feeling on the security of the rivalry game, South Carolina, Clemson, Florida, Florida State. Those interconference rivalry games that could somehow be in jeopardy, in peril, if they expand the playoffs and the SEC and the Big Ten come to some kind of a scheduling agreement, et cetera, et cetera. I really think it's something to be concerned about. Do you?
No, I think we have every right to be concerned, Phil, because the way college athletics has gotten rid of virtually every tradition, why should we think that games that we deem sacred, i.e. Carolina, Clemson, i.e. Florida State, Florida, whatever, Georgia, Georgia Tech, why should we think those are untouchable? Because nothing else in college sports has been untouchable. I can't imagine that those games they would say, no, we're not going to expand the playoffs because we got to make sure that the rivalry games can be played at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll give any consideration to that.
Yeah. Okay, a lot to get into. Let's begin baseball-wise. My goodness, Clemson and Winthrop. It is 17-7, and they've played 4 innings. 17 for Clemson, 7 for Winthrop. Winthrop scored 2 in the top of the first. Clemson came back with 5, then a run in the second, 4 more in the third, and 7 more in the fourth. 17-12-1 for the Tigers, 7-7-3 for Winthrop. So
Klubnik's been really good in this game. That last touchdown drive they just had, really impressive.
Yeah, how many
10-play
yards?
drive right down the field.
How many yards was it? 10 play?
75 yards.
Josh Pano is 3 for 4 for Clemson. He's now hitting .370. And the Tigers, Dominique Listy, he's 2 for 3. He's hitting .462, and I'm assuming that we have some home runs hit here by Clemson. What you got?
A boatload in the fourth inning, as a matter of fact. It was all extra base hits in that inning for them.
Let's see here. Bring up the scoring here and take a look at that. In the fourth inning, you had, first of all, Winthrop. They scored runs in the top of the fourth. Then Clemson came back, and Pano homered. That was a 2-run shot, and Priest homered for a solo shot. So the Tigers hit a couple of home runs, and Winthrop also had a home run in the top of the fourth. That fourth inning must have taken a lifetime to play. A total of 11 runs between the two teams in the fourth inning. Clemson leading 17-7. On the mound, Bennett started. He went an inning, 2 runs and a hit, and then they brought in, not familiar with this pitcher, Kick, K-I-E-C-K, Kick. 2 innings, 6 hits. He gave up 5 runs, and then Bailey has come on. He pitched a clean inning when he came in, retiring all 3 that he faced. So Clemson rolling 17-7. South Carolina and Gardner-Webb to play tonight beginning at 6:30 over at Ray Tanner Field at Founders Park. And we've got Coastal Carolina and Wilmington playing this afternoon. And they are in the bottom of the 7th. This game's a little bit more sane. It's 5-1, Coastal Carolina over Wilmington, 5-8-0 for Coastal, 1-4-2 for Wilmington. So the Chanticleers are cruising at this point. No home runs in that one. And we've got the College of Charleston going to be playing coming up here in just a little bit as well. The Cougars, let's see here. The Cougars are going to be playing against Georgia Southern. That game has not yet started. We'll update other baseball. Basketball tonight, of course, you got South Carolina on the road tonight to play at Missouri. South Carolina looking to build on their modest, can you say a 1-game winning streak? I don't think you can.
That's not a streak, no.
They want to build on their victory of last Saturday against Texas at home. But now they go and play one of the surprise teams in the country in Missouri. I mean, look, South Carolina can look at Missouri and see what Missouri went through last year, a winless SEC season, and how they went out and they were very good in recruiting transfer players. They turned it right around in a hurry. Now they're ranked 14th, looking to make an SEC tournament run here in a couple of weeks and then into the NCAA tournament and make some noise there.
And stuff they do well is going to stress South Carolina. They're really good on offense, average about 84 points a game. That ranks inside the top 10 in the nation. And also, Phil, they get to the foul line a bunch. And judging by what South Carolina was able to do against Texas on Saturday, this game may take as long as the Clemson-Winthrop baseball game today. They may be there for 3 hours tonight if the officials are calling this tight. But the 13th game this year that the Gamecocks have faced a ranked opponent.
Yeah.
Nothing short of remarkable what their schedule's been. Shane Beamer can complain about his schedule all he wants. I'm not sure Lamont Paris is going to have any of it.
Well, I mean, this is the schedule they inherited by being in the SEC. Now, they did play Clemson, which now is a ranked team and moving up. But everything else pretty much in the SEC. The SEC, of course, blowing up into a monster league this year. Also tonight, you've got Duke at Miami. And Florida at Georgia, Georgia Tech at Pittsburgh, Tennessee at LSU, Mississippi State at Alabama, Louisville at Virginia Tech. Those are the games involving SEC and ACC teams. I don't think that Miami will be in a position to help Clemson by beating Duke. Maybe Virginia Tech can spring the upset of Louisville at home. They always play well at home, and that would be useful for Clemson as far as the ACC race is concerned.
I think the only help Tiger fans can hope for is be a North Carolina Tar Heel fan at the end of the season. If you look at Duke's remaining 3 or 4 games, North Carolina is the only one I think on that list that would have any kind of chance. And knowing what happened when those two teams first met, I don't know how much of a chance that is. I'm not sure Duke loses another regular season game. And for Clemson, it's going to come back to that Georgia Tech game. It's going to cost them an ACC championship.
Yeah, one that you shouldn't have lost, though.
Exactly.
Brad Brownell will tell you that Georgia Tech was a much better team than their record indicated at that time, and they happened to play extremely well that particular night against Clemson. They did. They played a heck of a game against the Tigers.
They did, but it's really hard. And I know Brownell said it wasn't the case, but it's really hard to look at that 3-game span of time between Georgia Tech and then Duke and North Carolina and watch what they did against the Blue Devils and Tar Heels and not think they were looking ahead to the weekend. I mean,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just really hard for me to believe that those guys didn't overlook Georgia Tech and it cost them.
Yeah, possibly so. Scott Eisberg down in Charleston with the story. Ashley Ridge girls, they're out of the playoffs. He spoke with Jimmy Brown, the head coach, and he said the coach was pulled in this afternoon by the principal and AD, and the team has been disqualified by the high school league for use of a player they are deeming ineligible. They are discussing appeal options. Now, we're in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
So why now? Why is this – I mean, at this point in time, why is this happening now? You had all season and 2 other rounds of the playoffs. You think somebody just today called the high school league office and said, oh, by the way, Sarah Smith over here, she's like 27 years old and is ineligible. I mean, what's the deal?
Well, the cynic in me, Phil, says whomever Ashley Ridge beat most recently in the playoffs is the team that turned them in. I hope that's not the case, but I mean, I don't buy many coincidences, especially when it comes to high school players and high school teams, that all of a sudden we find out there's an ineligible player during the playoffs. You just start piecing things together. And I've seen this happen too many times not to believe that whomever, and I'm not trying to cast aspersions because I don't know, but it's hard to believe that whomever Ashley Ridge defeated in their most recent game in the playoffs is not, or somebody prior to that, not the team that turned them in.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. A couple of other quick notes. It came to light today that Hubert Davis at North Carolina signed a contract extension back in December. And so he's not going anywhere. He received a contract extension through 2030. So any talk of that, of some change. Now, they've gotten hot here. They've won their last 4, so they're playing a little bit better. Also, a couple of other things out of Chapel Hill to mention. And along with that, the men's basketball program has hired a sports agent with longtime ties to the school as their basketball GM. He is Jim Tanner from Tandem Sports. He's Tandem Sports Entertainment president and founder. And this was being reported by one of the North Carolina-centric websites. He's a graduate of North Carolina, native of High Point. He says here, represents a number of broadcasters and professional and college coaches in employment contract negotiations. Worked as an attorney. So he is coming in. And another story I read, this was by Matt Hayes with the USA Today Sports Network. The story was written a few days ago, but I just saw it. He wrote a very interesting story, I thought, about the pending internal fight at North Carolina over money, because you've got Bill Belichick there now, and you've got Mike Lombardi there now as their football GM, and they're going to want the biggest chunk of the money.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But North Carolina, of course, has always been, basketball's always been their crown jewel, and they're going to want their share of the money to take care of their business. And so what he was writing about is, according to people he's talked to, sources, whatever, there is going to be, or they are expecting, quite an internal fight at North Carolina over the $20.5 million and how it is split up between football and basketball now. And I say that thinking, it's not just not going to be North Carolina that's going to be facing that situation, because others, everybody, of course, thinks it's all football. And I guess basically football is the sport that moves everything right now with expansion and television contracts. But you're going to have other programs and other coaches who want what they believe is their fair share of that money to be able to go out and compete and sign their players. So how you divvy that up and how you handle the internal relationships there is going to be crucial for athletic directors. I mean, that's a whole new level, I think, of agitation for them to deal with.
It's fascinating to look at some of the blue bloods in college basketball and wonder, I mean, how are they going to treat that at Kansas? The only hope that Kansas has to be successful in football, you would think, is to pump the majority, if not all of that $20 million into their football program. But there's no way Bill Self's going to sit back and say, hey, wait a minute. This is Kansas basketball. We don't care about football. And I think Hubert Davis is probably going to do the same thing. Hey, look, our tradition is North Carolina basketball. It's not football. And so you're right. I think that's going to be an interesting battle to watch waged, and it's going to happen because these coaches, when, it all boils down to these coaches, their livelihood is on the line if they don't win ball games. And the only way it appears to win ball games now is to spend money and spend a lot of it. And maybe a place like Florida State will be another interesting one. They're about to try and hire a new head coach. If he's coming in and realizing that football is going to get the bulk of that money, does he take the program or does he stay wherever he is and say, no, I'm going to stay here because I'm happy here and I don't have to deal with the behemoth that is Florida State football?
Well, if you're at a basketball-centric school and you're doing well and you have the opportunity to step into a situation where football, basketball are both strong, but you're going to have to fight for those dollars, you might do a double take on that. One more note here before we go to the break. I found this interesting as well today. This is from Mitt Winter, who is an attorney who tweets a lot about things in the NIL world. And he cites this statement from the Penn State AD, as he calls it, a realistic assessment about how schools are planning on using terms in their athletic contracts to reduce player movement. He noted that schools are unlikely to sue a player that leaves, and that players likely won't sign contracts with buyouts. On multi-year buyouts, he said, quote, what are you going to sue a kid for leaving? The rules have changed. It's a 1-year window. Young men and women, he wants them to be there for a long time and hoping the new world can slow that down, but have a buyout. Who's going to sign that? You have to recruit against Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. If they're not doing it, it won't work. You have to come together in sports to make this better for the athletes and the sports. This is the Penn State athletic director, Pat Kraft, who met with reporters to talk about progress on and off the field for Penn State. So, and the other thing that I read in all this is that, everybody's acknowledging that tampering is going on. It's like the old saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Now, if you ain't tampering, you ain't trying. That's the new slogan in the recruiting world, the player acquisition world in college sports. If you ain't tampering, then you ain't trying. Okay, we'll hit the break. When we come back, your phone calls, 888-898-2525 is the phone number. Back in just a moment.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine it. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
She said, give me 6 packs of Brooks and Dunn. If you want a country girl, you just found one. Let's slip away. Yeah, any Chevrolet.
All right, to the phones we go. Let's go to Hank in Columbia. First up tonight, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And welcome in, Hank. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Coin.
Yes, sir.
That story about the Ashley Ridge girls is real close to home. Ashley Ridge beat Ridgeview in 4 overtimes the other night to advance.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 4 overtime game, and I think, and from the, I know folk over Ridgeview, so I would highly doubt it was them that turned them in, or would even be aware of who would be ineligible down in Ashley Ridge, because Ashley Ridge is actually down in Somerville.
Mm-hmm.
And they were due to play Somerville next week in the lower state championships.
Are you suggesting?
So I'm not saying I would. I'm not sure what it is. I know I highly doubt that it was Ridgeview that turned them in. Ridgeview actually put a big salute out to their team and said, a gritty effort and good and all that, and it done basically all their closing media stuff on Twitter.
Are you suggesting the upcoming rivalry game is behind all this? Is that what you're suggesting? I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying you're hinting at that and suggesting.
No, I'm not hinting at that. I'm just saying I know folks at Ridgeview, so I doubt it was Ridgeview. And it was strange that they played a 4 overtime game the other night. But this can be sometimes these things are not an immediate. Like when you're talking about, sometimes you have a player. I've seen it in the past where they have a player and the player's kind of in question, and they ask the high school league, and the high school league says, "Well, sometimes before they say, well, we're not going to tell you not to play him, but if you believe something's not kosher, you might want to hold them out. If you play them, and we find out that they're not eligible, then you knowingly played an ineligible, which will put you out of the playoffs."
But why would you play him unless you were 100% certain that you were in the clear? When
you get high stakes, some of these people they get emotional. That was a 4 overtime game, so I don't know who fouled out to get into that point, and then somebody might have just taken a risk.
But we don't know what the allegation is either. Like, why would this individual be ineligible? Is it a transfer thing? Is it an academic thing? Is it just an overall eligibility thing?
That's what I said. Yeah, it could be any of those things.
Well,
but,
I still say the high school league, and thank you, Hank. Chris, the high school league should have a rule. When the playoffs start, the rosters are locked.
Yeah, check your eligibility for everybody who's made the playoffs. It should be fairly easy to do so.
Yeah.
And you go from there.
Yeah. If you got a complaint, you got an allegation, make it before the playoffs. This would be terribly disruptive at this stage. Be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
a.m. Tuesday before its nose abruptly pulls up. A smaller jet is seen crossing the runway that the passenger plane was set to use. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 159 points, the Nasdaq dropped 260. More details at srnnews.com.
So who needs broker solar? Well, it's the homeowner or the business owner that wants to take some control of their own power bills. It's the family that decides clean solar is the path for them. Or maybe it's the church or nonprofit that wants to save some big dollars for their cause. Is it you? Maybe it's time you wake up to all Broker Solar can do for you. You have to let Ken and his team be your ultimate guide in what is pretty complex, this solar world. Make no mistake, solar energy is not for everyone. Despite what the scammers and door-knocking liars tell you, it is not free. It's a significant investment, but it has significant returns. From home installations to solar farms, Broker Solar can personalize your solar solution by meeting your needs and your budget. Their menu includes everything from full-scale solar on your roof or land and even battery backups for those pesky power outages that we've all endured. Visit brokersolar.com, stick it to the utility companies while also bathing in the sunny side of savings. Brokersolar.com, giving you the power instead of leaving you feeling powerless.
If every kid deserves a shot and every parent deserves a say, then education freedom is the answer. Giving South Carolina families the freedom to seek out the best school for their child, no matter where they live or how much money they make. Because Palmetto parents know better than government bureaucrats. And each kid deserves better than one size fits all. No child should have to question how far they can go, limited by the whims of politicians they don't know. Parents know the answer. It's education freedom for every kid who deserves a shot. And they're counting on Columbia to make it happen. No more waiting. It's time to empower parents. Because when they have the freedom to decide, our kids have the freedom to thrive. Tell state lawmakers, it's time to pass education freedom. Call 803-734-2010 today. Paid for by Club for Growth.
Relax. Start your journey with a new auto loan. Get ready for a season of adventure. Escape the ordinary and get on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and your budget. Featuring no payments for up to 90 days. Simply apply early for a pre-approved spending limit before you even start shopping. Let a Founders representative be your trusted advisor to make sure your purchase makes sense for you and your finances. Ask for a free auto insurance quote for a personalized plan to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that is competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Visit one of our many convenient office locations or go to foundersfcu.com/auto to apply for an auto loan today or to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
At 6, don't miss the vibe. South Carolina's pride, we're live. Sports Talk's the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team, follow X for more. We're taking over, that's for sure. Corinth's insight, Bergen's wit, Cohen's energy. They're the perfect fit. 2 hours of sports talk bliss. Don't miss a minute of this. Sports Talk, the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team, follow X for more. We're taking over, that's for sure. From touchdowns.
All right, we're back at Sports Talk. It's Sports Talk Media Network. Don't forget to follow us on our X, as the jingle suggests you do. Our X is SC Sports Now, at SC Sports Now. Facebook and YouTube, Sports Talk Media Network, or also Sports Talk SC. We'll take you to those as well. What? I just stumbled for half a second. You got to break into laughter over that. Sports Talk SC or Sports Talk Media Network will work there as well. And our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Back to your phone calls in just a moment. Great night for basketball fans. Celtics, Lakers, Cavs, Bucks, Warriors, all in action. If you're an NBA fan, you can draft a team for just tonight's games in Underdog Fantasy's Tuesday tip-off and compete for $100,000 in prizes. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com right now. Build a fantasy team that could include Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, Kevin Durant. Keep an eye on Luka Doncic, who was squaring off with his former Maverick teammates. Don't forget that Underdog has fantasy options for college hoops too. South Carolina, Duke, Florida, Tennessee, all in action tonight. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Register with the promo code SportsTalkBonus. That's SportsTalkBonus to claim your free pick and your first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Now, you must be 18 or over, 19 or over in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or over in Colorado for some games, 21 or over in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Most anticipated home game for the Lakers, and how long do you think?
Oh, maybe since one of their last playoff games from last year. This is big.
I should have prefaced that by saying regular season.
Yeah.
Because, nobody anticipates the regular season. But I would say this is probably going to rank up there with LeBron playing his first home game for the Lakers.
Yeah, this will be huge. This will be huge.
Yeah.
They're playing good ball, the Lakers are. Pains me to say. They're playing very good basketball. Clemson's playing very good baseball, 19-7. Tigers with another multi-run inning. They put 2 on the board in the 5th. They are thumping Winthrop 19-7. For everybody's sake, let's hope they agree to the run rule.
There's no doubt.
Because you don't want to carry this thing out to the end. 6-1, Coastal Carolina leading Wilmington now in the bottom of the 8th. College of Charleston, Georgia Southern, they are scoreless in the top of the 3rd inning. Give you a few other scores here. Wake Forest 8-6 over Elon. That's middle of the 7th. North Carolina 5-4 over VCU, mid-7th. Tennessee 7-2 over North Alabama. It's in the top of the 6th. And Kentucky all over Evansville 19-3, bottom of the 6th. Citadel leading Presbyterian 3-2, top of the 6th. It is Campbell beating Duke 7-1. They're the top of the 5th, yeah. We've got, let's see here, who else? Wofford and Asheville, 3-3, bottom of the 3rd. All right, there you go. Let's go back to the phones, 888-898-2525, and our text line number, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. TBT, Tiger Bryan, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I thought you was throwing me to the curb there for a minute now.
No. You were actually first in line, then you hung up.
Well, I lost my connection lost,
Mm-hmm.
Your cell phones, they don't work just right.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Hey, tell me something. How good is the Andrew Jackson girls basketball team? You're familiar with them, aren't you?
They go good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
They're real good.
Yeah.
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 You keep telling me I'm a Lancaster High Bruin. Yeah,
But I know that, but you always talk about AJ, and you talk about Buford. You've talked about Buford before.
Buford, I worked Heating I worked all the way.
Yeah.
Heating and air, the old boilers and everything.
Yeah.
31 years maintenance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So heating and air, that's your professional background.
Oh,
heating
yeah. I'm retired. I've made a bunch of money. I had my own business on the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I retired corny at 54 years old.
That's amazing.
Wow.
You're amazing.
I was 31 years in school district till my state retirement. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't dumb as I sound.
Who said you sounded dumb? Whoever said that? Ain't nobody here ever say that. Ain't nobody here say you were dumb.
Sometimes I go sideways. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you get a little excited sometimes, but we all get excited sometimes, But that's good. That's what It's what makes Sports
I'm
Talk
glad-
Radio go round and round sometimes.
Well, just like Mickey Pryor told me, I've listened to you. Corn Blue loves you. I love you. He hugged my neck. You know what I mean?
I know that.
I ain't never called on that man's show. You know what I mean? But he's heard your show before.
Yeah.
He heard me.
Yeah.
And he knows my best friend was his uncle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know,
I mean,
you're something about that.
You're famous. You're famous from the mountains to the coast. You're a famous guy.
Yeah.
You probably can't go anywhere. You probably can't go anywhere and pay for a meal if they know it's you. I'm sure people are willing to pick up the check.
I don't even talk like that.
Yeah.
Man, you got that uncovered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You sent me that football that time. All that's uncovered. You know what I mean?
I understand. Well, we
Yeah,
don't want
man,
the
we don't-
IRS to
but-
find out about that either.
I ain't lying. They'll think it's worth some money. They're going to try to. But no, listen. I'm going to tell you something. I want to say something right now. Gamecock Bill. You got, I called him back. You thought it was Gamecock Bill. He's doing good. He's going to listen. You know, he got a good report on the doctor. Yeah.
That's good.
I just want to. It's Gamecock Bill. Yeah. But he's my brother from a different mother. I went fishing today, corn. I was just trusting my lines out so he gets healed up. See, he's the only one that ever beat me fishing on 3 ponds. Beat me by one. We run out of worms, though. You know what I mean?
You ran out of worms. You ran out of worms, and he beat you by a
He was on
fish.
the last one on each hook. He beat me by one. You know what I mean?
By one fish. He
growed
beat you
up
by
and-
one fish.
Yeah, but we growed up forever. You know what I mean? Since we was damn
You
6,
know,
8 years old.
Next weekend they've got a professional fishing tournament at Lake Murray that you maybe should enter.
Well, no, I go down here to the Laurel's winery right below my house, that winery.
Mm-hmm.
At Father's Day, I'm the reigning champion down there. So I got a championship this Father's Day. I had to go down there. I ain't got time for that now, Cole.
I understand. I understand. I understand.
Hey, what's my boy? If we get through Louisville, we be all right.
If you get through Louisville, talking about Clemson basketball.
Yeah, that.
Well, I mean, you don't play Louisville. I mean, if you get them in the tournament, but I mean, you get to the tournament.
Biggest one we got.
Well, you got Duke, and you got Louisville, and you got Wake Forest, and you got an up. You got North Carolina.
We need Duke to lose the game.
Well, I don't think Duke's gonna. I mean, they could lose to North Carolina. That game's going to be in Chapel Hill. If North Carolina continues to play at a high level, like they are right now, that could be a decent game. But Clemson can hang with any of those teams. I think they've proven that. Even Louisville, they can beat Louisville.
Hey, what seed do you think we'll be in the tournament? The biggest.
Well, right now, Joe Lunardi today in his latest bracketology had Clemson as a 5, playing UC San Diego in Seattle. So go ahead and get your airplane tickets and your hotels in Seattle. Of course, by Thursday, they'll be somewhere else with another seed after they beat Notre Dame. They'll beat Notre Dame tomorrow night. They should at Little John. And what a season they're having. My goodness. They win that game. They'll be 15-2 in the ACC. 15-2.
John, can I tell you something before you cut me off?
Yes, sir.
Me and Miss Miss Tiger Bryan, our anniversary is 12th of March. Y'all ever been down to the George at Georgetown?
Been down to the George?
It's called the restaurant. It's the motel, the George.
Well, now wait a second here. We're getting a little bit. You talking about going to a motel type thing? And
I'm talking me and my
come
wife.
on, Tiger Bryan. Let's. This is a family program now. We want to stay above.
No, I'm telling you, we're going on an anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Miss Tiger Bryan down in Georgetown. It's called the George.
Chris, do you know the George in Georgetown?
I am not familiar with the George.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a classy place.
I got the day I'm dressed up for go down there and eat in the restaurant. Yep.
Yeah. So that's where you're going to spend your anniversary at the George in Georgetown.
Yeah, we're going to be there. So I won't be able to talk to y'all from Thursday to Friday on the 11th to the 13th to 14th. I won't be able to hear nothing. I can't do nothing. It's just me and her. She said.
Yeah, I understand.
So I got to go out.
You're going to be under the
phone between now and then.
You're going to be under the thumb, is what you're telling us. Under the thumb. Huh?
Right. Well, happy wife, happy life, Cole.
That's what I heard. All right. Thank you, Tiger Brian.
All right. We love y'all, man.
You too, buddy. Take care, and all the best to Mrs. Tiger Brian. And eat your Wheaties over the next couple of weeks. Sounds like you're going to need them. Hi-oh. The George in Georgetown.
The George, I'm not familiar with that.
The people of Georgetown, you are forewarned that Tiger Brian and Mrs. Tiger Brian are coming to Georgetown to stay at the – look that up, the George. I've never heard of the George in Georgetown. Now, Georgetown's a beautiful – in fact, we're going to be there in Georgetown a week from Thursday for the what used to be the IP Classic has now been taken over by the Brown family and the family that owns Coastal, the big car dealerships right there at Pauley's in Georgetown. I think it's Coastal Chevy, Coastal Cadillac, all that, the Brown family.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they have stepped in. When International Paper closed in Georgetown, of course, that was a huge blow to the town.
Yes, it was.
But they used to sponsor the IP Classic, which is one of the best early season, high-level high school baseball tournaments anywhere, with Coach Mike Johnson, legendary coach at Georgetown, and his son Michael, of course, who played at Clemson, great player. Did he play in the majors? Did he make the majors?
Michael Johnson, I'm not positive.
Yeah.
If he got all the way to the big show.
I know one thing. He used to love to face the Gamecocks. My God,
He
did
sure
he eat
did.
up Gamecock pitching. Holy
He
smokes.
sure did.
But they have invited Sports Talk to come down to be there on that Thursday.
Oh, cool.
To do the show. So you'll be in will you still be in Panama City? Oh, no, you're going to Pensacola. You're going to Pensacola. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
That depends on Coastal,
Yeah.
how long they want us to stay down there.
Yeah, you'll be back.
I hope not. I'd like to see the guys make a little run.
Yeah,
They
you'll be
really
back.
made a run in the tournament.
You'll be back. Take my word for it. You can come join us. Come join us
I
down
could
by the
come hang out,
river.
yeah.
Come join us down
Yeah.
by the river. Okay, let's run to the break, and we'll be back. We got more things to talk about. If you want to yak it up with us, phone number 888-898-2525. Got a nice note in here on our text line. Phil, love to give credit where credit is due and really love watching the show every night. And I want Chris to know that I really love listening to him announce Coastal Carolina football and basketball as well. Signed, Matt Hogue. All right.
How about that?
Nicely done. No, it wasn't. That
Very
was not
nice.
written by Matt. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, but
Be
that is
back
nice.
in a moment.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a dentist. I want to be an engineer.
Making dreams come true starts with making a plan. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to invest in a child's future education so they can chase any dream. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment. Relax. Start your journey with a new auto loan. Get on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and budget with no payments for up to 90 days. You can apply for a pre-approved spending limit even before you start shopping. Visit one of our many convenient office locations or go to foundersfcu.com/auto to apply for an auto loan today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Can't be said I'm an early bird. It's 10 o'clock before I say a word. Baby, I can never tell. How do you sleep so well? You keep telling me to live right.
All right, quick look at what's happening in the high school basketball brackets as we head down the stretch. Just looking at games played last night and what's scheduled tonight. So the 24th last night, 1A girls. Lee Central advanced over HKT, 66-43. And it was a Military Magnet. Breaks my heart. Military Magnet. Well, you should never go up against the military if you're from Latta. Should never go up against the military. Military Magnet beat Latta 77-34. And North beat Williston Elko 61-43. So one semi is Lee Central and North. The other is Military Magnet and Denmark Oler. Denmark Oler beat Carvers Bay 45-26. And they'll play the semis on the 27th. Take a look at 2A girls. 2A girls, they are playing tonight, Eau Claire and Mid-Carolina. Clinton and Fairfield Central, Atlantic Collegiate and Andrew Jackson, Lake City and Kingstree. So upper and lower state semifinals, 2A girls tonight. Take a look at 5A girls Division II. They're playing tonight. Gaffney and Greenville, Greenwood and Riverside. Upper state, lower state, Berkeley and Goose Creek and Westwood and North Myrtle Beach.
Are the divisions that necessary in basketball?
I don't know. We got them.
Your roster size is only going to be about 12, 13 girls or boys.
Well, Division I, 5A girls, they played last night. J.O. Mann beat Dutch Fork 57-47. Blythewood beat Rock Hill 60-47. So now you've got the upper state finals there. On the other side, as we talked about earlier, Ashley Ridge, a winner over Ridgeview, 64-60. According to Hank, it went how many? 4 overtimes?
4 overtimes. I think that's what he said, yeah.
And then Somerville, a winner over Carolina Forest, 43-27. But now we don't know if Ashley Ridge is going to be able to continue or not. So that remains a dilemma up in the air. 3A boys played last night. In the upper state, Christ Church beat St. Joseph's 60-20. And Powdersville defeated Belton Honeypath 66-56. Then in the lower state, we had Loris, a 57-52 winner over Fox Creek, and Keenan beat Oceanside 50-36. And finally, 4A boys, they are playing tonight. Lancaster against South Point, Greer against Wren, North Augusta against Gray Collegiate, and Wilson against Crestwood. There you go. You're up to date. Everything else is already set for the semifinals. So those games being played tonight will get us to the last of the statewide semifinals in the brackets. We go to Andy in Columbia. By the way, the George Hotel in Georgetown is quite nice.
Yes, it is.
So Tiger Bryan and Mrs. Tiger Bryan going to have themselves a big time. Lowest room rate we could find was $200, $209 a night. So
TB.
Tiger Bryan is going whole hog with Mrs.
Making the rest of us look bad.
I'm telling you, he's embarrassing the rest of humanity. Middle of the 7th, 20-7. I'm assuming if they're playing the run rule, the game would be over.
Yeah,
so
I hope it's over.
It's 20-7. I'm not seeing a designation that it's over yet. 20-7 in the middle of the 7th. Andy in Columbia, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Phil. Hey, Chris. I'm doing well. I just wanted to correct you on one thing that you said this evening, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that L.A.-Dallas game is going to be as big as the L.A.-Dallas game in April when L.A. comes into Dallas.
No doubt. No doubt.
Because you know how much those fans love Luka. And, the L.A. people, they don't give a crap about Dallas. I mean, what difference does it make? Davis isn't playing. I don't think it's really going to be much of a difference in any other game that they're watching.
Let me say very quickly. They are doing the run rule, so it's over. Clemson beat Winthrop 20-7. All right, go ahead, Chris.
No, I think Andy makes a really good point because L.A. fans are notoriously lazy fans and apathetic fans and alike. So I think he brings up an excellent point. When the Lakers roll into Dallas, that's going to be a huge, huge game in Dallas.
Mm.
Oh, and I heard that Luka bought like a $20 million house in Dallas, like right before he got traded. So he must have really been expecting a trade, eh?
I think. No. I mean, he was shocked by it. Obviously, he was stunned.
No, that's what I'm trying to say, Corn.
Yeah.
$20 million. I wonder what he can buy out in L.A. for $20 million. Probably a quarter of the house.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. $20 million.
No taxes in. You have taxes in you don't pay tax.
Not in Texas. Texas and Florida.
Yeah. So and they're going to tax the living mahomies out of you in California.
Of course, I know some people don't pay taxes anywhere, so they never come out in public, and
calls the show who does.
They always have their faces covered, but you're right. I mean,
calls the show from Missouri.
No comment. No comment. All right, Juan Soto's going to be paying some big New York taxes, huh?
Hey, when you have $750 million, I think you can afford the taxes. And he gave a car to Beatty, and I just read that Beatty's got to pay the taxes on it. He didn't even pay the taxes for the kid.
He did get his number from him, though.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah. All right, thank you very much. You lost me there for a second. We'll be back after the top of the hour break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the BART Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has agreed to the draft of a minerals deal with the White House on Tuesday, according to reports. Details from correspondent Bernie Bennett.
Reuters reported on Tuesday that the Ukrainian leader plans to travel to D.C. on Friday to meet with President Donald Trump after the officials agreed to the terms of the deal. The pact, which would involve giving the U.S. access to natural resources in exchange for America's support of Ukraine amid its war with Russia, was days in the making. Trump said on Friday that his administration was, quote, pretty close to striking a deal, and on Monday he hinted that a meeting between him and Zelensky was imminent. Bernie Bennett reporting.
A judge has issued a 2-day deadline for the Trump administration on blocked foreign aid.
A federal judge has given the Trump administration less than 2 days to release billions of dollars in U.S. foreign aid. The judge says the administration has given no sign of complying with his nearly 2-week-old court order to ease its funding freeze. It's the second time a judge has found that the Trump administration has not followed a court order. The nonprofits involved in the lawsuit say that the administration has stiffed them on billions of dollars in money already owed. The cutoff followed an executive order by President Donald Trump targeting what he says are wasteful programs that do not correspond to his foreign policy goals. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Pilots on a Southwest Airlines flight attempting to land at Chicago's Midway Airport were forced to climb back into the sky to avoid another aircraft crossing the runway. Airport webcam video posted to X shows the Southwest plane approaching a runway just before 9 a.m. Tuesday before its nose abruptly pulls up. The smaller jet is seen crossing the runway that the passenger plane was set to use. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 159 points. More at townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility. Enroll anytime, choose your own provider, and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org/wellness.
Consumer confidence has plunged with fears of tariffs and layoffs. More on the story from correspondent Jennifer King reporting from Washington.
A closely watched index of U.S. consumer confidence plummeted in February, sinking from 105.3 to 98.3. That's according to Tuesday's report from the Conference Board, a business research group. Wall Street markets tumbled on the news, which was well below economists' projections and the biggest drop since 2021. Respondents to the board's survey are concerned about inflation and made more mentions of trade and tariffs. Short-term expectations on income, business, and jobs also fell by 9.3 points to 72.9. A reading under 80 can signal a potential recession. The board says consumers are becoming more pessimistic about future income and business conditions. Jennifer King, Washington.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening, a low temperature tipping to 43. Tomorrow, another great day, mostly sunshine-filled skies. The high temp is 75. Thursday, our one rain day possibility this week. 40% chance we get showers, while on Friday and the weekend, looking very nice. Highs in the mid-60s to low 70s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk Media Network. David Hood coming up in just a second from TigerNet. Clemson's gone final with Winthrop 20-7, 20 runs, 14 hits, and an error for the Tigers. 7 runs, 8 hits, and 3 errors by the Eagles. Today for Clemson, Listy had a couple of hits, 2 RBIs. McClatty drove in 3. Canarella had a hit. He drove in 2. Pano had 3 hits, including a home run. He drove in 4. Priest drove in 2. Gerald drove in 4. He had a home run. Priest had a home run. Becerra had a home run. Tigers hit 4 home runs on the day. They also drew 11 walks. They only struck out 6 times. They were hit by pitches 2 times. Bennett started, and then it was I got to ask David how you pronounce this pitcher's last name. Keck? He gets the win, 2-0, goes 2 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, all earned, but he gets the win. Bailey went 3 innings, allowed a hit, but no runs. You know, sometimes an official scorer can determine on his own who was the most effective pitcher. Sounds like Bailey was the most effective, but he didn't get the win. And Cole pitched an inning for the Tigers to finish it up. So Clemson wins, and now they get ready to take on South Carolina this weekend. Meantime, the Gamecocks are 2-2 with Gardner-Webb in the top of the 2nd inning. So both teams scored 2 runs in the 1st inning. Gardner-Webb with a single, and they also have an unearned run that was scored as well. So an RBI single and an unearned run scored. South Carolina came back with Wojta with a home run, and then Mayshore scored. No. They scored on a wild pitch. Kennedy Jones actually scored on the wild pitch for the Gamecocks in that inning. So 2-2, and they're just in the top of the 2nd over at Founders Park, Ray Tanner Field. It's gone final. Coastal Carolina beat Wilmington 6-1, and the Chanticleers did not have a home run today. Dean, is it Mijos, Bergie, or
Yes,
Mijos?
Mijos. It's Mijos.
Mijos.
Correct.
All right, he had 3 hits. Wells Sykes, guy has 2 last names. Wells Sykes, he had 3 hits. 10 hits for the Chants. Win goes to Potok with 2 innings in relief, 2 hits. Did not allow any runs. And we have got the College of Charleston trailing at Georgia Southern 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning. So those are some of the premier games we've been watching today in college baseball. Let's welcome in from TigerNet our good friend, the one and only David Hood. Welcome in, sir. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing okay. It's kind of crossover season, basketball, baseball, spring practice, so much fun.
How do we pronounce the pitcher that got the win today for Clemson?
I think it's Kick. I think that's the way that he says it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, let's talk about Clemson football because spring practice starts on Friday. The off-season expectations for the Tigers are really off the charts. We're talking, people are talking about winning the ACC, making the playoffs, making a run at the national championship, looking at all that talent returning on the offense and the defense. Your general view, your overall view of the team as you go into spring practice.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a very talented team, and they've got a lot of returners for starting offensive linemen. Your quarterback, who made great strides, is back next year. All of those receivers, except for Troy Stellato, are back. They added Tristan Smith. So a lot to look forward to on offense, defense, a new defensive coordinator, some talented linebackers, defensive linemen coming back. Sure, there's questions. Who's going to, take R.J. Macon's place in the secondary, is probably the biggest question mark for me on the defense. And then, offensively, who's going to play running back? That's, probably the biggest question on the offense.
Who do you think emerges from that running back room? They've got the highly touted freshman coming in from Virginia, but you got some guys returning. They did not go into the portal and look for a running back, so they must feel good about the group that they have to work with already.
Yeah, with the fact that they've got a guy out with that hurt his knee during the Jay Haynes that hurt his knee during the ACC championship game, and I expect David Eziamume and to kind of come out maybe in the spring and maybe be that guy. They've got Keith Adams. Keith is a veteran. They've got Jarvis Green, the kid out of Dutch Fork. another veteran, but they're really high on David Eziamime, would probably see him. And then, kind of anxious to get out there and see what Gideon Davidson, that freshman, has to offer. We'll get to see him Friday. He was able to come in and kind of get his feet wet with a few, practices before they went to play Texas in the college football playoff. And I think they feel like they've got some guys. Jay Haynes won't be around at all this spring, and he's going to be one of those guys that would be a fall camp type deal, and maybe even then still might be just a little bit limited. So if David Eziamime is going to, this is his time to shine. This is his spring.
Adam Randall, does he stay in the backfield or go back to receiver?
I think he does. I think they liked what they saw out of him. We, heard kind of early in bowl practice that they were moving him out there, and he's a bigger body, but got some speed, showed some flashes there in the ACC championship game on that kick return, and then they moved him out there and got a few carries against Texas. And look, you've been around college football a long time. You know that running back's not something you pick up overnight. So spring's going to be a long learning curve for him, and I'm kind of anxious to see how he does. And he could be a guy that, could be a part of that two-man rotation or three-man rotation.
So who do you think will be number one at running back to start out the spring? Do you think is it going to be Keith Adams? Is it going to be Jarvis Green? Haynes is out. You mentioned Ezia Yumi. I'm trying to get that name right. Who do you think kind of emerges at the start as number one?
I think Keith Adams, the veteran, he'll be the one that'll kind of go out there and get those first touches. But then I think, you'll start to see Eziamime, he'll start to maybe separate himself. And again, as much as you like some of these other guys, the fact that they moved Adam Randall out there maybe tells you a little bit too. Maybe he surprises some people and kind of runs out there. I don't, I love Keith Adams. I think he's great at what he does, but he's probably not your solution at starting running back. And somebody else will step to the fore, at some point midway through the spring.
Well, Gideon Davidson, you mentioned him, kid out of Virginia who's been committed for a couple of years, and now they finally get their chance to get him into camp. I mean, he was an electric running back in high school, a guy. I don't know, you kind of compare him in high school to like a C.J. Spiller in terms of his speed and his elusiveness and his running style?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. CJ, that's hard to compare. It's hard to compare anybody to him because he just had that great top end speed. The thing I like about Gideon, just from watching him, seeing him in camp, is just the vision. He's got that quick twitch. He's got the speed, maybe not the high top end that a CJ had, but just that vision to kind of find a little bit of a crease and hit that hole at full speed. And he put some incredible numbers up at Liberty Christian up in Lynchburg. Some incredible numbers up in high school, some all-time Virginia State records. And, the few times that we've seen him in camp, he kind of shows off that he could be the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
But, him, you know how college is. If you don't pass protect, you don't get on the field.
This is true. How much do you think we'll see Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore in the spring? I mean, do they need to see anything from those guys?
I think there's still a little bit of a learning curve for those guys, but if you're the coaches and you've got Antonio Williams and Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore, you kind of know what they have. You want to see some of these younger guys, Tyler Brown, for instance, who really missed all of last year, had a great freshman campaign. He's out of Greenville, South Carolina, and I thought we would maybe see him a little bit more in the postseason, and he really never got out on the field. I think this is going to be a big spring for him, and we're going to see him and some of those other younger guys maybe step to the fore a little bit, but you still can't overlook the fact that Wesco and Moore are still learning. Now, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Antonio Williams just has token appearances here and there.
Yeah, maybe a guy like Tink Kelly, and of course you got Tristan Smith, the newcomer out of the Portal John. Was that you guys that had the video of him playing? I think it was you guys who had the video of him playing some basketball the other day. Very athletic, huh?
Very athletic, long, rangy guy. I think that's probably one of the things Clemson has missed since, losing guys like Justin Ross and players like that to the NFL, is that kind of 50-50 ball guy. And I don't know that he's one of those that you're going to see him getting the 50-50 balls down, on the sidelines, maybe midfield. But he could be a really nice option for Cade Klubnik down in the red zone. That's kind of where I see him fitting in. Clemson's used Jake Brenningstool in that role, Davis Allen coming out of that tight end spot. But I think he could be one of those wide receiver threats that could play a role in the red zone.
Looking at the offensive line, so you got Tristan Lee back at left tackle. You got Linthicum back at center. And correct me if I'm including players who shouldn't be. I think, is Parks back at right guard?
Parks is back at right guard and Blake Miller at right tackle.
So you just have to replace Tate at left guard. What do you think they'll do over there at left guard?
I think here, Colin Sadler's a guy, another kid out of Greenville that's played a lot of football, but has battled the injury bug. I like Harris Sewell right there. Harris has proven that he can be, a guy that can move around the line. Maybe they like that in him. Maybe they want to keep him moving around. But I think that's going to be kind of a two-man battle between Sewell and Sadler. They've got Elijah Thurman, the freshman that, hurt his knee last year up at Virginia Tech, and they like him a lot. He's not going to be ready this spring. I think that'll be a battle maybe for later in the year. So for right now, it's kind of Sadler and Sewell, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Sewell really get those first-team snaps.
You think at tight end that Olsen Pat Henry just steps in and is the front guy there ahead of Sapp and Betancourt?
I do. I think Olsen Pat Henry has proven, he came on really strong late in the year. They really like how he blocks. And, if you're going to be a tight end at Clemson, you got to block in the running game a little bit, something that Jake struggled with a lot of the time. And Olsen Pat Henry would be the guy that would come in and block. But, he proved that he can catch the football too, and then they're high on Betancourt. They really are. I would not be shocked to see Betancourt maybe pass Sapp at some point this spring, and then they've got Logan Brooking, the freshman tight end. I think he's going to come along. They've got some bodies in there that they feel real good about where they are. I know they're really high on Betancourt though, and I think the emergence of Olsen Pat Henry will give him time to grow up a little bit.
All right, defensively, this has kind of got the looks of the old-fashioned Clemson defense, you think, in terms of the talent level when you talk about the way T.J. Parker came on, and then, Peter Woods is Peter Woods, and Sammy Brown came on. They pick up the transfer held from
Will
Held from Purdue on the other side there. How good is this defense going to be?
Yeah, I think if Tom Allen can kind of, find the right pieces and how he likes to play, can he find somebody to play that, they call it the jack or the lion, that position that Isaiah Simmons play, man, if he could find somebody to play that, is comfortable putting their hand in the dirt or playing linebacker or even stepping back and going into coverage, it could be even more dangerous. I'm not sure if that player is a Jeremiah Alexander or somebody else, but you've got to like what you've got coming back. Sammy Brown is unlimited potential. Showed what he could do. You got that outside linebacker, and Woodaz, he's been really good. They've got some younger guys. D. Creighton is a kid that when it was his time to play, you saw him against Pittsburgh. He played really well. He looked like he knew what he was doing. And then the secondary, they feel real good. Ashton Hampton. He's a kid, another freshman that came along. They love what they have at cornerback. And again, it's going to kind of be, you've got Khalil Barnes, and then who's it going to be? It's going to be a Colin Webb or, Griffin, who's going to step in at that other safety spot.
So Peter Woods moves inside permanently, right? No more playing on the edge for him. They don't need him out there. They can put him inside. Yeah,
they need him on the inside. That, moving him outside, that was great. But there were times you just looked at him; he's just too big to play out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want to about, he's a really athletic guy, and he is, and he has speed. But sometimes getting out to the edge was a little bit of a problem. So he goes back inside where he belongs, and then they feel like the emergence of some of these younger players. You add Will Help to the equation, and then, I have kind of heard some rumblings. Wouldn't be shocked to see, a player maybe from the other side of the ball move over onto that defensive inside.
Who are you thinking about?
Maybe somebody in that tight end room. There's some bodies over there, and you go, man, there's a lot of them, and could somebody on that side maybe move over and play at defensive end and kind of shore up the numbers a little bit? Now,
up front, Peyton Page is gone, correct?
Yes, yes. So, but you've got Devontae Capehart and Peter Woods back.
Mm-hmm. And you got Stephilion Green, Caden Story, Vic Burley. I imagine Heaven Brown Schuler is going to get a good hard look this spring as well, and maybe Champ Thompson.
Champ Thompson, they feel really good about that. A lot of depth there, and they had talked about moving Vic Burley, outside some. I think he's going to provide some depth, maybe more on the outside than on the inside. They love Champ Thompson. Stephilion Green showed why they love him so much, and I was, maybe a little bit shocked at DeMonte Capehart coming back. He's a guy that has proven he plays violent with his hands. He's a great run stopper. Maybe not so much at times pushing the pocket like some others have, but got a lot better with that. I was a little bit surprised that he actually, was able to come back.
Sammy Brown, what kind of year would you expect him to have once you get through spring and look ahead to the fall? What kind of year do you expect him to have now that he has the experience of the freshman year behind him?
You look at the number of snaps he played, and then the fact that he was, third on the team in tackles, considering he just started 5 games, and you go, okay, so now what happens if you're out there with a defensive coordinator who loves middle linebackers? What do you see out of it, man? Does he get to 100 tackles? I think 100 tackles is probably a really realistic goal for him, and 4 or 5 sacks, and he just has that motor that you love. And there were times last year, talking to his dad sometimes after games. His dad played football at Furman as a coach, down there at his high school program at Jefferson. He understands football. He's like, no, he missed a run fit here, he missed a gap there. So he gets coaching at home, he gets coaching at Clemson. I think, kind of the sky's the limit for him.
What are you expecting to see out of Tom Allen when you watch him on the field, especially with Ben Boulware, I guess, overseeing the linebackers, but Tom Allen there, but also, I guess, keeping his eye on the entire defense?
Yeah, I actually wrote that today. It's kind of going to be interesting to see a CEO of the defense. Lorenzo Ward, South Carolina fans really familiar with Whammy.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of did that at times last year where, not exactly a defined role, but kind of was always around the defense, talking to the coaches. And now you've got Tom Allen, who is not going to just be stuck with the linebackers. Ben Boulware, like you mentioned, will be working with him. His son, Thomas Allen, who was with the Detroit Lions, is going to be working with them. They've still got Chris Rumpf. They've got, John Scott that was with the Lions, former Greer High product that was with Penn State. Got him working with the defensive ends. They've got Nick Eason on the inside. They've just got a lot of really good coaches over on that side of the ball. And so it's going to be interesting to watch Tom Allen and kind of how he coaches his coaches out there.
Yeah. Place kicking looks great, of course. Punting situation, anything to be worried about there if you're a Clemson fan?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of concern. Jack Smith's been on campus for, 3+ years now and has never, taken a starting job. I've, noticed him, at times in practice, he's got a big leg. He can boom them and then turn around and miss one. And you're looking for consistency out of him. And was I a little bit shocked that maybe they didn't go shopping in the portal for one? Yeah, but maybe it's because they want to give him a chance to spring, and maybe they go shopping for one if he doesn't have a great spring, when that next window opens. But, his only competition, former walk-on by the name of, I think, Will McCune, and then Brody Kahn, who is a punter safety that's the son of Mickey Kahn.
Mm-hmm.
He's another walk-on. He's a punter, but that's really the only competition. It's Jack Smith's job to lose, but he's got a lot to prove.
Mm-hmm. All right, last thing, and I saved this for last. We hadn't talked about the quarterback, and you got to give Klubnik a lot of credit. I mean, he really had a phenomenal year last season. His numbers were as good as anybody's for the most part, and he helped get Clemson to an ACC championship title and also to the playoffs. So I don't think you can nitpick with him the way his season went last year. And the expectations now going into this year are extremely high. I'll tell you one thing. During the worst times for Klubnik, Dabo Swinney always had his back and always said he was a great quarterback and he will get there. It looks like he got there. You feel like he is there, in your opinion?
I do. And, what I heard last year during the offseason was that after his sophomore campaign, that he was embarrassed about some things and took it really to heart. And all of a sudden, you started hearing whispers out of the building, hey, Cade's not going anywhere. He's making sure that his wide receivers are throwing with him out on their own. He's eating, meals with his offensive linemen. He's staying in the building. He's eating meals with all these other guys. He's trying to become more of a leader out there and trying to refine his game. And he worked with some different coaches trying to get better. So now, you get into another off season and you go, okay, now, but is he going to rest on the laurels? And I've heard the same thing again, like he's trying to take it to another level. He feels like he can get a lot better, and he understands it's probably going to be a pretty good quarterback draft class coming out, and he wants a high grade, but, he also tells people privately, he came to Clemson because he wanted to play in a national championship game, and he thinks he can get him there. So far, hearing all of the right things, and if he takes another step forward, it could be a good year.
Well, I saw a graph today that has him among the top 25 NIL earners in college football at $3.3 million, with Arch Manning, of course, at $6.5 million, without having done a darn thing, hardly. So my point is, you're making that kind of money in college. What's the rush? What is the rush?
You know what? First of all, you have to look at him, and he's a guy that doesn't need the money. His family is well off, and so I don't know that that's kind of a determining factor for him. He just has a lot of pride, and that's why, again, I think he was embarrassed after the sophomore season. It injured his pride a little bit, and when you got somebody that has that, you have a guy with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
No question. He played like that last year too. So, and it helped to have maybe a better group of receivers to throw to.
Yeah, it's amazing how much better a quarterback you are when you have Bryant Westco and DJ Moore out there.
No question. Hey, David, you sound like you got a little something going on there. You fighting a little something?
Everybody in my house seems to have a little bit of strep throat going on.
Okay, well, don't come near me this weekend.
I'll give you a kiss Friday.
There we go.
I'm bringing Lysol. I'm spraying you down with a can of Lysol. All right, brother, thank you so much. That was great stuff. I look forward to seeing you Friday.
All right, thanks, Phil. See you Friday.
Thank you, unless you're too sick. Don't come in if you're too sick. It's the great David Hood from TigerNet. Yeah, I saw this graphic, top 25 NIL college football earners. At number 8 is Klubnik at $3.3 million. At number 20, tied for 20th, is Lenora Sellers at $1.8 million.
So what they can do is the same thing that the Corey Coley up in NC State is doing. Go ahead and sue the NCAA, try and get another year of eligibility so you can make more money.
Why not?
I mean, these kids are going to get to a point they just want to stay in college. They don't want to go pro because they are pros.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to continue challenging the eligibility issues, and until the NCAA grows a backbone and a spine and says, look, you can't stay in college 15 years. The problem is somebody's going to ask the question, well, why not?
I can stay in Major League Baseball for 20 years.
Exactly, Phil, and that's going to be the question that somebody asks.
Kaufer and Wojta. Wojta has homered again. South Carolina's up 4-2. Kaufer is playing catcher tonight because LeCroy's been struggling at the plate, and he's come in there and he has homered. 4-2, South Carolina over Gardner-Webb, top of the third. Check in on NASCAR with Josh Harris coming up.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening. A low temperature tipping to 43. Tomorrow, another great day. Mostly sunshine-filled skies. The high temp is 75. Thursday, our one rain day possibility this week. 40% chance we get showers, while on Friday and the weekend, looking very nice. Highs in the mid-60s to low 70s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Spring is just around the corner, whether the groundhog says so or not. Get ready with Palmetto State Armory, your go-to spot for all things outdoors. Reel in your best catch with top brands like Shimano, Zoom, and Spro, used by pro anglers everywhere. And for our Spring Legion members, we've got everything you need for turkey hunting. Shotguns from Benelli, Browning, and Beretta, plus premium gear from Sitka and Nomad. Visit us at one of our 9 retail locations or shop online at palmettostatearmory.com.
with SRN News. I'm Keith Peters reporting 3 senior Ukrainian officials say that Ukraine and the U.S. have reached an agreement on a framework for a broad economic deal that would include access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. The officials who are familiar with the matter spoke on condition of anonymity. One of them said that Kyiv hopes that signing the agreement will ensure the continued flow of U.S. military support that the country urgently needs. President Trump called it a very big deal, adding that it could be worth $1 trillion. House Speaker Mike Johnson's trying against the odds to muscle a Republican budget blueprint to passage, a step towards delivering President Trump's big, beautiful bill with $4.5 trillion in tax breaks and $2 trillion in spending cuts over stiff opposition from Democrats and some Republicans. More details at srnnews.com.
I sure like to brag about good local businesses. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is a great local biz. Josh and his team stress customer service as their top priority. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning came out to my house. I had a toilet that wasn't working right, a garbage disposal that died. They came out right on time, told me everything they were going to do, and explained the price of each repair before even bringing in the tools. I knew exactly what I was getting and exactly what it would cost. Their prices are fair. Their team is courteous and professional. Plus, they did a great job fixing what needed fixing in my home. I am very careful about making any recommendations, and I'm thrilled and confident to suggest you call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning for any plumbing needs. If it's a repair or to replace something, if it's that tankless water heater that you've always wanted to give you that endless hot water and save you some money, they unclog drain and sewer lines and so much more. Online, you'll find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com, or just give Josh and those great folks a phone call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222, and tell them you heard about them from here at The Point.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at hdjcattle.co or on Instagram and Facebook at hdjcattle.co. Again, hdjcattle.co, where ethics meets quality.
Hey all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Paul Grant here, Columbia's Secret for Weight Loss, here to talk about how we can help you lose up to a pound a day naturally. Unlike those other companies that use chemicals, drugs, dangerous hormones, pills, and things like this, we don't do that here. We help you lose weight naturally. Learn how you can do that. It's real simple. Call our office, 803-992-1912, or visit our website, columbiasecretforweightloss.com. That's columbiasecretforweightloss.com.
Results may vary.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
All right, big weekend in Atlanta. Second race of the regular season in NASCAR, and it was quite the finish. Welcome in Josh Harris, president of Darlington Raceway, once again here on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us. Yeah, the folks in Atlanta have just got to be tickled pink. about what they've got now since they reconfigured the track. Just another exciting finish. NASCAR kind of spoiled it for everybody, but it was still an exciting finish.
Oh, yeah. The Racing Atlanta once again this past weekend delivered with all three series, really, when you think about the trucks and Xfinity and then Cup on Sunday. So a lot of excitement. I think the biggest difference between that race and what we saw in Daytona and what we may see later in Talladega is just with that track being a mile less in length, it doesn't give them the ability to do all the fuel saving. And these guys can really go hard. And while they're in a pack, they're able to move their cars around a little more. So right now, with the reconfiguration Atlanta went through, the current cars we've got, it's a great match. And I think it's a great way to follow up the Daytona weekend heading up to Atlanta. So great weekend all around, and Christopher Bell pulled it out there at the end.
Yeah. And your opinion of the end and how NASCAR ruled on the end?
Well, I went back and looked at it, and I've listened to some of the explanations. As a fan, I'd love to see a green flag finish because I think it was setting up to be another one just like we had last year, 3-wide finish there at the line. But, at some point safety has to come into play, and you would hate to see someone at the back of that pack going through crashed cars cause an even worse incident while the leaders are racing back. I get that it didn't really have an impact on the leaders and where they were, but it's really the rest of the field trying to get through those cars that were wrecking. And so while it's unfortunate, I think they ultimately did what they told the drivers ahead of that race in the drivers meeting that they would do if it happened again. And that's what they did. And I think you've heard a lot of the drivers saying that they appreciate knowing what was going to, how NASCAR was going to call it and looking out for their safety.
So there is a difference, in your opinion, a legitimate difference in the call or no call that they made at Daytona versus the call they made here?
Yeah, I think they're very similar, and I think what NASCAR came out of Daytona and said is, in the dual race, if you go all the way back to that dual race, they probably had a little bit quick they hit the caution too quickly and could have let that race finish. And then at the end of the Daytona 500, it was pretty close to being one of those where they could have thrown a caution. And in reality, when they would have thrown that caution, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. You had an incident at the end of the Xfinity race, and then certainly what happened. It's one of those calls that's under the microscope at these kind of tracks, and I think what everyone is asking, and what NASCAR said their goal is to have consistency in how they call it. And I think they've laid out now with how they called it here what their protocol is going to be going forward.
All right, so I heard the announcers as they were wrapping things up after the race, they were like, okay, it's been great, Daytona, Atlanta, back-to-back drafting tracks, as they call them, but they sort of had the feeling that the drivers now are ready to move on to something else, and so they're headed to COTA. You feel like the drivers are ready for something else, ready to get away from the high speed and the drafting and get into another area of racing?
I think so. The drivers, they get 6 of these a year on the drafting tracks. They've got a third of them out of the way right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll hit some road courses, some 1.5 mile short tracks here over the next 4 to 5 weeks, and I think that'll really start to see who's really strong early on in the year. What I'm excited about heading to COTA this weekend is they've taken the track and they've shortened the course up a little bit, cut about 1 mile in length off of it, which will take the length of the race from 65 laps to 95 laps. So the fans there will get to see more action. And then when they do have caution laps, there'll be fewer laps ticked off under caution. So I think it's going to set up for a great race this weekend, hitting the road course before we go out to Phoenix, after that.
So it's basically more racing for the fans at COTA.
It really is. The part of the track they cut out a couple of turns and some straightaways that really weren't significant passing zones. And I think where they added and cut the course will actually create a couple of more passing zones. So looks to be a pretty competitive course. I think the drivers all gave really good positive feedback about it just in the off season as they looked at this change. And certainly, as a fan, you think about how many times you get to see the cars come by you if you're sitting in the grandstands. You're almost adding a third more opportunities, so that's always good.
Sounds like there's a new guy in the black hat coming out of Atlanta, Carson Hocevar. I think everybody's kind of piling on him.
There always seems to be that young guy that stirs the pot a little bit. And, Carson, we've seen this throughout his, brief career, but very successful coming up through the truck series, known as a fast, he's been in fast trucks, fast cars, won some races, but also has, rubbed some people a little bit the wrong way with aggressive driving. I think we saw this in a guy like Ross Chastain a couple of years ago. And this is, in my opinion, it's kind of a natural progression of being a young driver at the Cup Series, wanting to make a name for yourself. I mean, look, he was right there in position to go for his first Cup Series win. So I have a hard time faulting him for anything. I thought the drivers after the race that wanted to talk to him handled that in a respectful manner. And in a way, I think Carson probably gained some respect by sitting there listening to what they had to say. And we'll see how it plays out from here. But he definitely had there was a little bit of a line waiting to talk to Carson after the race.
Yeah, but you have to respect the guy that will stick his nose in there and try and go for it. I don't know if you consider that or if they considered it irresponsible racing on his part, but how many of them in the similar position would not have tried the same thing?
Yeah, and it's such split-second decision-making. I didn't see anything that he did to be over the line, egregious. There were moves that the veterans probably wished he would have done a little bit differently at those couple times during the race. But ultimately, like I said, they're out there racing for themselves and their teams, and he had a chance to go get his first Cup Series win. He went after it. And sometimes there's going to be disagreements, and I think that's good for the sport. It's good to have, some of these rivalries and these guys that they can be friends off the track, but when they strap in behind the wheel, you want them to be fierce competitors and race hard, race respectful, but race hard.
All right. So after two races, what has surprised you both at the top of the standings and down in the middle, down towards the bottom? Like, who's performed, who surprised you with their performance through the first two events, and who surprised you by their poor performance?
Yeah, I think I'm going to look at it kind of collectively as team. Legacy Motor Club's gotten off to a good start overall. I think Jimmy Johnson finished third in the Daytona 500. John Hunter Nemechek had a couple of good starts to the race. So I think they're going into COTA with some momentum and probably much better start than they got off to last year. On the flip side, a lot of the Fords have been really fast these first couple of weeks, but have also gotten caught up in a lot of these wrecks. So a little bit behind the eight ball. A guy like Brad Keselowski has been caught up. He had good cars, had good speed, but in some of those incidents. And then you got a guy, like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who always does well at the drafting tracks. Kind of a new team this year with a little bit change in their ownership structure. So he's had a couple of good races to start the year. So those are some of them that are a little surprising at the top, and then also a little surprising on the bottom side.
All right, time to sell some more tickets for the Goodyear 400 coming up quickly. I mean, before you know it, we'll be about a month out. So we need to keep those tickets rolling. How are we looking there?
Well, the momentum for ticket sales has certainly picked up over the last couple of weeks with the launch of the season at Bowman Gray and then Daytona, now Atlanta. So we're starting to see fans, get their tickets for the Goodyear 400 and Throwback Weekend, but we still got some more to sell. So get them out there at darlingtonraceway.com. We got tickets for military, first responders, all different family groups come out Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be Throwback Weekend, celebrating our 75th anniversary. Go check it all out at darlingtonraceway.com.
And you're not up against Mother's Day. So you really got the whole day to yourself from a racing standpoint.
That's right. Early spring, April 5th and 6th. So we're ahead of the Masters. We're ahead of all the golf that gets going on here in our area. Really looking forward to kind of kicking off the spring season at Darlington ahead of Mother's Day, ahead of all those other big events coming up behind us.
I like that. We like that. You like that, Chris, don't you?
I like the non-Mother's Day, absolutely. Non-Easter, yeah, stay off the holidays. I think it's great for Darlington. Darlington deserves primo spots on the schedule.
There you go.
Non-holiday weekends.
There you go.
We'll keep Labor Day weekend and give them Mother's Day. And,
fair enough.
Look for a big crowd. Look for a big crowd April 5th and 6th for the Goodyear 400.
And they should go to the website, best way to get the tickets, or just should they call into the ticket office and talk to some of the nice people?
That's right. Probably at this point, we have to wait till tomorrow to talk to some of our great ticket folks. But 866-459-RACE, you can always give us a call. We'll walk you through packages, camping, pre-race experiences, or if you want to check it out on your own, just hit us up at darlingtonraceway.com.
Josh, appreciate it as always, man. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Josh Harris, El Presidente of Darlington Raceway.
He brings up a good point. I forgot about Labor Day. We always work on Labor Day, so I've never looked at it as a holiday.
Absolutely. That's why they call it – I always thought they called it Labor Day because you had to double up your work.
Exactly.
That's what I always thought. Bottom of the third, South Carolina, another home run. Scobie hits one. They're up 5-2.
Relax. Start your journey with a new auto loan. Get ready for a season of adventure. Escape the ordinary and get on the road with an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and your budget. Featuring no payments for up to 90 days. Simply apply early for a pre-approved spending limit before you even start shopping. Let a Founders representative be your trusted advisor to make sure your purchase makes sense for you and your finances. Ask for a free auto insurance quote for a personalized plan to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that is competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Visit one of our many convenient office locations or go to foundersfcu.com/auto to apply for an auto loan today or to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's Corbett. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
George Bryan here with Tsunami Bar Sports and some great spring golf news. If you're ready to mash your tater, I think you need a Laginator. And if you want to get more speed and crack the whip, it's time for a mini stick. So TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 to get 10% off the Laginator and the mini stick. That's TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 for 10% off.
We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, it's hunting season in South Carolina this fall, and folks need to be prepared from a legal standpoint.
That's right, Phil. Everyone always needs to buy their hunting license or fishing license. Everyone always worries about losing their license. Well, now that's not a problem anymore because you can keep your license on your phone. That's right. Go Outdoors SC. It's an app. Look for it on your Apple or Android devices. You can buy your license, you can renew your boat registration, and it's all right there on your phone. Remember, Go Outdoors SC in your app store.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosseller-Brown. Did you know Lawyer Lisa offers a prevention plan add-on to our services? If you already have a trust or just need some updates, ask about getting your ducks in a row and getting all of your wishes set out before it's needed. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina. The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Okay, recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk, as always, brought to you by the good folks over at Seawell's. We have the menu for the daily luncheon buffet for the rest of the week. Whatever they had today, you missed it, but you do have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to make it up.
Tomorrow, there's meatloaf, fried pork chops, baked flounder fillets, and southern fried chicken.
Oh, my.
You want the rest of the week?
Grief.
Go right ahead.
Smoked sausages with peppers and onions, lasagna, and teriyaki and lemon pepper chicken wings. I think southern fried chicken's every day.
Yeah,
it's every
that's a
day
staple. That's a staple.
And then Friday, it's a sliced beef brisket, fried fish nuggets, and carved apple with smoked ham kind of Friday.
What a menu. You won't find a menu that good anywhere. So make sure you get down to Seawell's from 11 till 2 between now and Friday and enjoy yourself. And, of course, you need the best in the catering business. All you got to do is call the Seawell's folks and let them handle your special event, their place or yours. 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. All right, linebacker Sincere Johnson, 6'3", 235 of Cleveland, plans to visit Clemson March 8th per Steve Wiltfong of On3. Johnson has set official visits: Penn State, May 16th, Alabama, May 31st, Oklahoma, June 6th, Ohio State, June 13th, Southern Cal, June 20th. Last season, 205 tackles, 41 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. Kind of like Debo Williams coming out of high school. When he came out of high school in Delaware, he had like 1 million tackles in his senior season. He was just a rocket back there, and he played that way when he got to South Carolina. Now, one thing about Clemson and their junior day, May 8th, because some of these players have already booked up the weekend of Clemson's official visit weekend, which is May 30th, I think the Tigers are going to treat some of these guys as if it's like an official visit weekend for them on March the 8th and keep them through the weekend and give them the full treatment. Clemson target defensive end Kamarian Johnson of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, sets an official to Auburn for June 10th. He'll be at Clemson's junior day, March 8th. He has other officials set to Ole Miss, May 30th, Alabama, June 6th, Tennessee, June 13th. He also picked up an offer from Miami. Clemson target cornerback Aiden Pouncey going to visit Michigan, March 28th. South Carolina target defensive tackle Noah Clark of Durham added an official visit to Virginia for April 25th and one to Notre Dame June 10th. That's right after his scheduled visit with the Gamecocks. He also has Duke, Virginia Tech, and NC State down for visits. South Carolina and Clemson target running back Carson Baker plans to take a multi-day visit to Southern Cal in April, per Scott Schrader of WeAreSC.com. Clemson and South Carolina target wide receiver Gordon Sellers of Charlotte plans to visit Michigan April 11th. South Carolina target defensive tackle Brian Harris was offered by Oklahoma. Clemson and South Carolina target cornerback Samari Smoke Matthews was offered by Texas. Clemson targets safety Caden Gebhardt was offered by Colorado and by Notre Dame. Orangeburg Prep tight end Tilden Riley has set an official visit to Virginia Tech for May 30th and to FAU for June 20th. North Augusta offensive tackle Malcolm Gaston has set an official to Georgia for June 20th. I get the feeling that's where he's going to end up. For some reason, South Carolina and Clemson never really got enamored with him to this point. Yeah, he's big. It's like 330 pounds. 2027 corner Joshua Dobson of Catawba Ridge was offered by Louisville. And that will do it for recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. We remind you to check it out on our website regularly at SportsTalkSC.com and on X. Our X, of course, is SC Sports Now. Check that out, SC Sports Now. And be sure to follow us on X, SC Sports Now, and you get our posts of our recruiting and repost of other people who report on recruiting. So we share all that with you there as well. Okay, let's update the baseball. Of course, Clemson's already won today in a shortened game over Winthrop, 20-7. South Carolina's in a tight one with Gardner-Webb. They were up 5-2. Now it's 5-4. I don't know if the wind's blowing out or just what. There have been 5 homers in this game. Gardner-Webb just got a 2-run shot. It's 5-4. South Carolina leading in the top of the fourth. Coastal beat Wilmington 6-1. Charleston is leading Georgia Southern 5-1. Let's check some basketball. How about it? Let's check some basketball. Of course, South Carolina later tonight, plays at Mizzou. Halftime, Duke is leading Miami 47-32. How about this? Georgia at the half is leading Florida 51-35.
Ooh.
How about some chopping on that, Plumber? Chop on that 16-point deficit. How about that? Georgia Tech leading Pittsburgh 35-30. Coming up, Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State, Alabama, Louisville, Virginia Tech, of course, South Carolina, and Missouri. Any final thoughts there, Bergie?
No, fun time tonight. I'd be curious to get sort of the other side of the coin. You know, Jeff Owens, when he joins us on Friday, a little more critical of NASCAR than Josh is. Certainly understand Josh's position. I think NASCAR set a bad precedent going back and forth. I really do.
Yep.
And if you don't go back to what you did at Daytona, it's going to look like, well, you protected your biggest race of the year and let them race back to the finish. I don't know why you wouldn't want to let them race back to the finish all the time unless the accident occurs on the back stretch. But turn 3, let them go.
Yeah. Okay, that'll do it. Chris, feel better? Josh,
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk.